Okay, welcome back. We're going to be creating a projectile that's going to be coming from the front of our spaceship. So let's get to it. So I'm going to click on Assets right here, and then I'm going to go right down to the folder called Image. Then I am going to find the next folder called Projectiles, and then I'm going to locate the projectile I want. I'm going to choose the energy ball, so I'm just going to drag it out, put it up there for now. You can see the energy ball appears right here. I am going to change the color. So I'm going to click on this white little strip here, and I'm going to drag the color over and maybe change it to a blue. You can see it changes the blue there. Okay, once I have changed the color of my energy ball, I need to turn it into a prefab, and I'll explain why in a minute here. So what we're going to do is click back on Assets right here, go down to the Prefabs folder, and then you're just going to click in the hierarchy on Energy Ball and you're going to drag it into the prefab folder. And you can see it changes the color, and we talked a little bit about prefabs with the asteroids previously. And we're going to be doing something with this in the prefabs. So you actually don't need it in your scene anymore. So let's click Energy Ball, right click Energy Ball, and let's click Delete to get rid of it. Okay, now we need to actually have a object where we're going to shoot the energy ball from. So we're going to create an empty object. So we're going to right click here on the hierarchy. I'm going to go to empty object. I'm going to rename it. I'll call it projectile and just hit enter. So you can see it's called projectile here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a script to it, and I'm going to do this in a different way. If you recall before, I believe we were adding scripts. We were clicking on assets, we were going to scripts here, and we grabbed our movement script by just clicking on here. There's another way to do it. You can see there's the movement scripts in here. We're going to click on projectile. We're going to click on add component on this tab here, and we're going to scroll down, and under playground you can access the scripts this way as well. This is just a different way to do it. And if I recall, yes, that was it right here. Under gameplay, if you click on gameplay, there is a script called Object Shooter. So just click that, and suddenly you will attach this script to your projectile game object. Now, a couple things happen, and I'm just going to make this a bit easier to see because it's kind of small. A little green arrow comes out and it shows you the direction that your projectile will be coming out. And we don't want it to go off to the side, so we are going to change the direction of our game object. And I believe it is X9. Nope, I got it wrong. X1 and Y90. There we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this game object, sorry, I'm going to click on it again, and we're actually going to grab it up and we're going to parent it to our ship. To parent it, I'm just going to hover over the ship, and you can see that it turns that sort of light blue color. I'm going to release, and suddenly this projectile empty game object is now a child of this, the parent. So to show you what I mean, and I think we talked a little bit about this with the asteroids, if I was to move these things, if I was to click on the move tool right here, it would move everything at once because this projectile is a child. But what we want to do is let's click on projectile right here, make sure we've clicked on our little move icon, and we're going to move the projectile kind of underneath the spaceship, and then we're going to drag it. Let's place it right here. And why I'm placing it so far out in front of it is because if you don't place it far enough in front of it, it's actually going to impact with the ship, and it won't work very well because of the collision. So what we're going to do is, you can see it says Object Shooter Script, and it says prefab to spawn, and there is no object, no object to spawn. So we're going to click on Assets, and we're going to go into Prefabs, and we're going to actually use the energy ball. That's what we're going to spawn. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm just going to stick it. You can see it goes blue, and I'm going to release. And it says, warning, don't forget to apply a rigid body to your projectiles or they won't move. Okay, well, we better make sure that our prefab, which is this energy ball, has a rigid body on it. So I'm going to double click it. and it does not have a rigid body on it. So I'm going to go down to add, actually I'm just going to collapse these two to make them a bit smaller. Then I'm going to click on add component, and I'm going to go all the way down to physics 2D, and if you recall, rigid body is just right here. And while I am at it, let's just change some of these things. I'm just going to put the drag at, well, let's leave the drag at 0 and 0 and the gravity at 0 for now. Everything at 0 and see how we do. And while I'm at it, I'm going to add a polygon collider to it, just like the meteorites. So I'm going to click add component. I'm going to go to physics 2D right here. And I'm just going to scroll down using my scroll bar, and I'm going to go to polygon collider. And there it is right there. Now this will have a polygon collider on it. It's a bit messy, so if you wanted to click on editor and you wanted to change it a bit, I would suggest you change it so it's a bit closer, because it's kind of a chunky. Yeah, you definitely want to change that a bit, so I'll let you work on that. Okay, though that is how we've got our object movement, or sorry, our projectile in there. So let's go back to the hierarchy, which is right here. Let's click on our spaceship. And it looks like we have pretty much everything. There is actually a component here that I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to click on projectile, object shooter script, and I click the space bar. It doesn't have to be the space bar, it can be any key you like. You can choose any key. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to click on play. And I'm just going to move my ship around and I'm going to shoot. Oh, we got a problem. It does not, it's shooting way too fast. You can see it's shooting out, but it's really quick. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to make that projectile heavier. So I'm going to click on energy ball. I'm going to click on rigid body, and I'm going to put the mass at, I don't know, 20? Let's see what 20 does. So I'm going to click play again. And still pretty fast. I don't know, 35? And you'll have to play around with these numbers. Yeah, not bad. There we go. Nice, it knocks everything out of the way. Okay. Alright, in our next video we're going to look at how to destroy the meteors and also destroy the energy ball.